Oh, man.
Come on, man. What is it? What? They're ruining a classic.
Alright, so, welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers, my man.
Hi, I'm Domenic Delpiombo, black and white TV enthusiast, and this is Ruining a Classic. Merry Christmas. What happens is a bunch of music, nice and easy, nice little Midwest town covered in snow, and then you see these stars start to talk to each other, those being the angels. One of them being, what's the fucking angel's name? Clarence. And then
Clarence'
you
parents
have,
had a real good marriage.
Joseph. Yeah, Clarence, 8 Mile. So, next thing that happens, George just fucking saves his brother. All the kids are just sliding down on flathead shovels. George's brother, George, dives in, saves him, gets pneumonia in his left ear, can never hear again.
How do you get pneumonia in your left fucking ear?
You know, I always wondered that, but in these COVID times, that's what you have to think about. So he can't hear out of his left ear. He develops a little bit of a gait. A gait is an elongated walk.
Like Quasimodo?
Or any of your fellow African-American fellows. They have a gait when they walk. They walk with a crip walk, if you must. That's what's called a gait.
I don't know if that's racist or not. What's Clarence doing?
Clarence doesn't have wings after 200 years, and he has the IQ of a rabbit, yet he's going to help out George fucking Bailey. Who's a G? It's James Stewart. Jimmy Stewart, as a kid, just basically talking to these two little bitches. Alright, there's Violet, and then there's Mary. She whispers that into George Bailey's bad ear so he can't fucking hear her. George is on his fucking, like, you want chocolate or vanilla ice cream, and Mary's like, I want chocolate, and George is like, alright, well, you want coconuts on that bitch? And Mary's like, no, I don't fuck with coconuts. And George goes, you don't fuck with coconuts? You don't know about no National Geographic. And Mary's like, National Geographic? That's a new magazine. I've never fucking seen that before. And he's like, of course you fucking haven't.
Doesn't have Disney Plus.
He goes, exactly. He read a telegram that said that the fucking pharmacist that he worked for, his son, was dead from influenza. Fucking pharmacist is all sad and he's drunk. And George is like, yo, hey, Mr. Gower, like, this isn't a big deal. What are you talking about? You put poison in these. Mr. Gower's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. And he's all fucking, he's legitimately fucked up. Go watch the movie. Henry's this dickhead who owns the entire town. And he's like, fuck this town. I want to own the whole town. Fucking Mr. Potter is just like, he's a bad business owner. He's just shit business owner. George is a smart kid. He's about to go to college. He's about to go to Europe. All this other shit. But George has a younger brother named Harry. And Harry's fucking cock of the walk, alright? George is like fucking already 54 in 1927. Whereas Harry looks like he's a fucking youngster. He should be at the actual fucking party that they go to. They go to a high school party. So they're at the homecoming dance or prom dance, whatever the fuck it is. He's about to get fucked by Violet. Violet's just fucking throwing that pussy at him. Then this little fucking scrawny dude, this scrawny little white dude comes up. He goes, George, could you please dance with my sister? So he goes and dances with her sister, and he's like, oh, Mary, you aren't the fucking girl that I fucking saw before. And all of a sudden, here's Cucky McFucking Cuck, who James Stewart fucking stole Mary from. And this other guy's like, well, I got the key to the fucking gym. Let's open it. Let's open up the fucking pool so they fall in and they look like assholes. And then all of a sudden they fall in. Jimmy is a fucking G, okay? And he just starts dancing with that bitch in the water, bro. There is no better move if you fall into a pool while you're dancing than to dance with the girl that you fell into in the water. And she's like, alright, let's go. So he goes out into the fucking locker room. He gets some football gear. He gets a robe for her. And they take off. And they're walking down the street. He's walking her home. What do you want, Mary? What do you want? You want the moon? I'll give you the moon. I'll throw a lasso around it. I'll lasso the moon right for you, Mary. And so his brother and his uncle come in the fucking car, and they tell him, hey, George, Dad just had a stroke. What the fuck's going on? Come with us. George's dad dies. George goes on. He fucking takes over the bank and loan. George Bailey is being attacked by the entire community to give him money, to take money from him. There's a bank run where thousands of people go onto the bank and they say, I want my money now. So there's fucking 2,000 people outside of his door, and he's on his way to his honeymoon. He just married Mary, his love of his life.
The one goddamn
he
moon!
got her the moon. And he goes, what's going on? And they're like, you haven't guaranteed our fucking money. He goes, how much you want, Mr. fucking Goblin? And Goblin goes, I want $240. And George goes, fuck off. And Goblin goes, all right, I want $20. He goes, all right, here you go. The thing is that the people next, they continually just ask for $17.50. They ask for $15.
That bitch asked for $17.50
because the bank's coming
forehead.
open. George is beyond himself. He has no idea what to do. He has no money. The biggest problem with George Bailey isn't George Bailey. The biggest problem with George Bailey is he has a fucking insane uncle. And his insane uncle's name is Billy. And Billy doesn't give a fuck. So, he just gives away all of his money. He gives it to Martini. He gives it to everybody else.
Who's Martini?
And then,
Martini?
Martini's this fucking little Dago Wop who doesn't have enough money to actually make it, but George Bailey helps him out. Then the war comes, okay? This is World War II. Every single person goes to war except for Jimmy. And that's the problem. Jimmy doesn't go to war. Jimmy doesn't get to be his brother.
Why?
Jimmy doesn't get to...
Why, though?
Because he is destined to be in Bedford Falls, New York.
No, because
for the
he's
rest of
deaf.
his life.
He doesn't have one. He only has one good
It's
ear.
not why. It's not
You
why.
hear fucking shit.
It's not why.
That's why.
That's part of why. The real reason why is because
90% of it.
You watched 35
What is black
fucking
and
minutes.
white TV about?
Shut the fuck up, Pete. He goes back home and he tries to see his family. He tries to see his kids. He has 3 kids by now, which time has passed on in the film.
And down the hatch, and it's warm.
Oh, he fucking goes to the bar. He gets drunk. He prays to God. He goes, God, fucking help me out, please. He got on the phone and he talked shit to some guy. And guess what? Guess who's at the bar? Some guy. Well, and some guy punches the fuck out of George Bailey. He goes, bah! And punches him right here in the fucking jaw. Guess what? George Bailey's drunk, so he crashes into a tree. He crashes into his tree, and guess what? This guy comes out and goes, what the fuck did you do to my tree? Please take a second into thinking about where people are in this life.
Hey, man.
So, George Bailey takes...
This is ruining classic, not UNICEF.
We're at the
Jump
bridge.
in.
He's about to jump in. And guess what happens? Clarence, George, is freaking the fuck out because guess what? He jumps in the river after Clarence. Clarence dives in the river after him. Before George jumps in, Clarence dives in the river. Jimmy jumps in to help Clarence. After they're back into the warm scene, he goes, I'm an angel. And Jimmy goes, shut the fuck up. I'm drunk. You're an idiot. And Clarence goes, no, I'm an angel. What are you talking about? And so Clarence goes, okay, we'll make it so that you're never born again. We'll see how you like that. Jimmy goes, go ahead and do it. So he does it.
Bet.
And James goes, all right, I'm going to go home. Like, I can hear out of my ear all of a sudden for the first time in 30 years. That's not a big deal. Goes and tries to go back to the scene of the accident where he crashed his car when he was drunk. There's no gash. There's no drinks. There's no him. He hasn't been born because he told Clarence, I wish I was never born. That's what Clarence does. He shows him how great it is when he was never born. George comes back to the house. Everything's great. He sees his wife, everything else. And then the main thing is he gets to see his family and he gets to see his tiny, tiny children. And the youngest one, who he calls Peabody or P something. He says,
Sweet Pea.
Sweet Pea, what's going on? And she says, the teacher says every time you hear a bell, the angel gets his wings. And sure enough, that's exactly what Clarence wrote. Was a note from a friend that he didn't share with anyone was that he got his wings.
He's like, thanks,
Thanks to
motherfucker,
James,
for
dude.
them wings, bitch.
And there's good old Clarence, who's just sitting there with his wings and his piece of paper, and that's all it takes. I ruined a classic, but it was worth it.
Ted.
Oh, Mary!
Ted.
Mary!
Mary.
Mary!
You know, the kids.
Oh, Mary! What are you doing, Mary?
It's not.
Mary!
Todd.
Are you sure you're not drunk?
It's not me.